Hi everyone, how's it going? I hope you're doing pretty well. I made a second channel, so it's called County Line 2. Again, it's my second channel, so go subscribe to it if you want. Alright, so today's episode, well, not today's episode. Today's upload is going to be a lot different from what I usually do, because usually I put together well-constructed videos, well-edited videos. This video is going to have little to no editing to it. It's just going to be me talking about pretty much every single full-time or nearly full-time Cup Series driver for 2021 and giving my thoughts on them. So, I really don't have that much to say, so may as well just get started. Starting with Quin Houff, I don't understand how he gets as much hate as he does. Sure, he's done some really, really stupid shit in the past. I'm not going to say, like, oh, he's God, because he's really just a mediocre at best driver. But I don't see why he gets as much hate as he does. So I don't think I'm going to put him in my hated section. I really just feel like strongly neutral about them, if there's any way that you can call someone a strong neutral. I would say it's like neutral evil if you put him in an alignment chart. Jesus Christ, I can't speak. So yeah, Quin Houff, I'm probably just gonna put in neutral. Kurt Busch, for a guy that's been in the Cup Series for so long, the fact that he's really done like I'd say like a 1080, because he used to be one of the most hated drivers, then he became one of the most liked drivers, then he became one of the most hated, and then he's now back to being one of the most liked drivers. The fact that a guy who's been in the Cup Series for so long has evolved so much, he's like a Pokemon character, but the fact that Kurt Busch is, I believe he's in his 40s at this point, I could be wrong. The fact that Kurt Busch is still going out and winning at least once a year in Chip Ganassi equipment, I find that to be astonishing. I think he is a very talented driver. I think he has a few more years left in Cup in him, but I remember, I think it was before the Daytona road course race, how he put a teaser video out with Monster that could be hinting at retirement at the end of this year, which would be a real shame, because I genuinely think so far into the season, recording this after Bristol Dirt, he's pretty much been a win contender for most of the races this year, which I think is pretty good and pretty indicative of his skills. Alright, Brad Keselowski, I made a 2-part video essay discussing why I think he's a Hall of Fame level driver, so I think you should already know my thoughts on him. Yeah, I think Brad Keselowski is one of the most talented guys in the garage. He's been fucked over quite a lot, and he's fucked himself over quite a lot, but I still think he's a very talented driver. I still think he has quite a few years left in him, and to think that he's technically had less full-time seasons than Joey Logano, his teammate, who you usually associate as him being the younger driver, and you usually consider Keselowski to be the elder statesman at Penske. It's kind of weird to think that Keselowski's only been in the Cup Series for full-time 11 years, which is astonishing, but yeah, Keselowski has to be one of my most liked. Austin Dillon. Again, I'm pretty neutral on Austin. Do I think he's a talented driver? Yes. I mean, you can't go into the Truck Series and the Xfinity Series without having and win the championship without having some level of talent. I do think that he's been given a lot more chances considering his last name and the fact that basically the entire Richard Childress Truck Series program closed when Austin and Ty went through. I think they have been given a lot more chances, but I think between Ty and Austin, Austin's proved that he has the talent to be in the Cup Series, and I wouldn't say he's like a championship level talent. I would just say he's one of those drivers, kind of like a Jamie McMurray, that can snap off a few wins from time to time, and the rest of the time he's just sort of there. So yeah, that's really my thoughts on Austin Dillon. Kevin Harvick. I'm really conflicted about Kevin Harvick because I personally think that he's one of the most talented drivers as currently in the Cup Series. If it wasn't for the stupid playoff system, he would have been the champion last year by the Texas race. So he still has a lot of talent in him. I think he has a very good shot at breaking Harry Gant's record at being the oldest driver to ever win in the Cup Series. But from the shit that he's done throughout his entire career, the Truck Series incidents that he's had, mainly at Martinsville, come to think of it, because he had the incident with Ty when he was running the Anderson maple syrup car, and he stopped in Ty's pit box, and years and years and years ago, how he was just a total fucking rampage on Coy Gibbs. Yeah, Harvick's one of the most talented drivers, but I think the amount of shit that he's done off the track really sours my taste on him as a driver. Is he a good driver? Yeah, but I think his attitude issues are getting a lot better, but, he still has a bit to improve on. So yeah, that's my thoughts on Kevin Harvick. Kyle Larson now. I think Kyle Larson is one of the most talented drivers currently in the Cup Series, without a shadow of a doubt. We've seen it this year, him coming back to Hendrick, barely having any sponsors, and that team really being run out of Rick Hendrick's pocket. And he's gone out there, what was it? He wanted Vegas, wasn't it? Yeah, I think it was Vegas. And he could have won at Atlanta if it wasn't for Logano blocking him towards the end of the race. So I think Larson's a very talented driver. He's always been a personal favorite of mine, so I'd probably put him in the liked section of this. Yeah, so pretty straightforward with that one. Ryan Newman. Ryan Newman is way past his prime. I think that Ryan Newman, he is definitely a talented driver. No question about that. But is he talented now? His last win came in 2017 at the Spring Phoenix race, I believe, because he was driving the RCR 31. But ever since then, what's he really done? I mean, besides making the playoffs in his first year with Roush, that's it, really. He performed well enough at Roush that fucking Jack Roush kicked Ricky Stenhouse out of the team, so I guess that's a bit of an accomplishment. But besides that, what has he really done? I mean, he's a talented driver. No shit. Well, he used to be a talented driver. It's just, I don't think he has that, fire in him anymore. I think he still wants to drive, but I think at this point he's really just, a waste of space. There's a lot of drivers that could go in there. There's a lot of drivers that can fill that Roush seat. And I think that they could do, just as good as a job, if not better, than what Ryan Newman's been doing these past few years. So yeah, Ryan Newman, pretty neutral. I just think that he's been in the Cup Series for way too long now. You got a guy like Kurt Busch and Kevin Harvick, who they've been in the Cup Series since 2000 and 2001. They've been in the Cup Series for a while, and they're still producing results. Meanwhile, Ryan Newman, he's not really doing that at this point. So I think that good guy, he's just a waste of space. Corey LaJoie. I'm going to be perfectly honest with Corey LaJoie. Well, about Corey LaJoie, I should say. I think that his off-track appeal is a bit better than his on-track appeal, because if you think about what he's done, sure, he's never really had equipment that can prove his skill in the Cup Series or the Xfinity Series, but I don't think he's a championship contending driver, and Hang on, I'm curious. I need to look this up. I think Corey LaJoie, he's in his late 20s at this point, ain't he? Late 20s, if not like early 30s. I could be wrong, though. Let me check this out. Corey LaJoie age. I think his personality is very good. I do appreciate the personality that he has and the personality he brings to the sport. Yeah, he's 29. I think he hasn't been given the chance to prove his talent yet. I don't think that's ever going to happen, really. Which kind of sucks, because I think he is a decent driver. He's not, like, blow your socks off talented, but, it's... He'll bring the car into top 10 from time to time, so I think he's a decent driver. It's just... I don't really see his career taking off with Spire or with as many teams as there are in the Cup Series. Tyler Reddick, two-time Xfinity Series champion in his second season. In my predictions video, I wanted to say that RCR was going to win, and it was going to be Tyler Reddick, but for some reason I just didn't say that, and I just said an RCR car will win. While I do think that Austin has a good shot, I think if RCR is going to get back into even being close to championship contending, it's probably going to be with Tyler Reddick. I think he is a very talented race car driver, especially at tracks like Homestead. I think he's not up there with like Larson and Larson, Bell, Chase Elliott in terms of talent. But I still think he's like in that realm where he's going to snap off a few wins and he's going to do very well on his equipment. So, what I think of him personally, I think that he's kind of bland. I mean, that's what we all thought about drivers like Daniel Suarez, Joey Logano once he came into the Cup Series. I think give them a few years to develop their personalities, and they'll be talked about a lot more. So yeah, that's my thoughts on Tyler Reddick. Chase Elliott, that was a good transition. Chase Elliott, our reigning Cup Series champion, he's been pretty shit this year. I'm going to be brutally honest. As much as people say it, this video is probably going to get a bunch of dislikes from the Chase Elliott simps. But as much as people say that Chase Elliott's going to go on a tear and win a bunch of championships, I don't really see that happening. I think he's going to get multiple championships in his career, and don't get me wrong, I would love to see Chase Elliott string a few championships together, because that'd be pretty cool. Because his celebrations are usually quite awesome. Hendrick as a whole winning, I think, is always nice to me, because some of my favorite drivers come from the team. But do I think he's going to be on a level like Jimmy Johnson, Dale Earnhardt, and Richard Petty? I don't think he's going to build like a 7-championship dynasty. I could be proven wrong. I could be proven wrong very shortly. But from the way this season's gone so far, I don't have I'm not overly confident that that's going to happen. But in terms of Chase's personality, he's pretty bland, really. He doesn't really show that much emotion, which you can take that any way you want. But I mean, the only time he's really shown emotion was early in his career and nearly after the Martinsville win and after his championship. There's probably a reason, you hear that fucking knee crack, there's probably a reason why he doesn't show that emotion. Maybe there's like some strategy behind it, but who knows. I think in terms of his personality, I really am like neutral on him. So Aric Almirola. Now Aric Almirola, it's tough to grade Almirola because we saw in his summer stretch in 2020 that he can put together good results. But with how crap SHR has been this year, and how lenient his career is on just that Smithfield sponsorship coming in, I genuinely cannot tell whether or not Eric Almirola is a good driver or he's only been allowed as many opportunities because of his Smithfield sponsorship. So, what do I think of him? I really don't know. I think I got to put him in neutral, because I feel neutral about a lot of drivers. Don't get me wrong. I also hate a lot of drivers. Like well, I wouldn't say hate's a strong word, but hated in terms of like a driver like a Kevin Harvick, and a few drivers I will get onto in a bit. But I wouldn't put Eric Almirola in the hated section, because I don't hate him. I kind of like him, to be honest, but it just doesn't seem like he's going to ever string together good Cup results, and I think he's really just wasting away at SHR. So, yeah, that's it's difficult to grade some of these drivers because I just genuinely don't have that many views on them. Denny Hamlin. Denny Hamlin, I think, is one of the best drivers currently in the Cup Series, without a shadow of a doubt. We saw last year and we saw the year before, but he does not perform well in clutch situations. We saw that at the overtime finish at 3rd Bristol. We've seen that with the 11 team as a whole throughout his entire career. I don't despise Denny, but I don't like him either, so I think he's like neutral, I think, because he's a talented driver, but I don't think he's ever going to get a championship. I genuinely do not believe that's going to happen, because he does not perform well in those high-pressure situations. His team as a whole does not perform well in high-pressure situations. So, Ryan Blaney. Ryan Blaney, I think, is one of the best drivers in the Cup Series. He just needs to unlock that talent. We saw at Atlanta that he can wheel a car. We've seen throughout his career that he can wheel a car. But the 2020 season left a sour taste in my mouth, because I think that Ryan Blaney underperformed his equipment. Sure, there was probably a lot more going on, getting used to a new crew chief and all that, but I genuinely think that Ryan Blaney, what he needs to do to capture the hearts of more fans is perform well. I like Ryan Blaney. I think that he's a very talented driver. But he's not championship tier yet. He can be. He can definitely be a championship tier driver in the not too distant future. But right now, he can't unlock that potential, so I'm putting him in the liked section for now. Chase Briscoe. Now, this is probably going to get interesting views, but Chase Briscoe is not as good of a driver as people say he is. Sure, he is a very good driver. He is a very good person as a whole. I feel bad for what him and his wife had to go through dealing with the loss of their unborn child. That's a horrible thing to go through. But how would Chase Briscoe perform if Tyler Reddick, Christopher Bell, and all of them were still in there besides Cole Custer? What if Chase Briscoe was a Cole Custer of that team, and Cole Custer was kind of like put to the side? Would he have won 9 races that year? No. Last year's Xfinity grid was not as good as it was years before. That's just fundamentally true, because in 2019, we had Tyler Reddick, who became a 2-time champion that year. We had Christopher Bell, who won a boatload of races that year. We had Cole Custer, who also won a lot of races that year. But entering 2020, how many races did Chase Briscoe win? He won like 2. Sure, he didn't have that many chances to win, but still. I'm not going to put him in my hated section. I'm going to put him in the neutral again. I just don't think he's as talented as people say he is. I'm sorry. Chris Buescher. I like Chris Buescher. I remember when he got his rain-shortened, fog-shortened win up at Pocono, and I was really happy. That was before I even knew what Love's was. I thought it was like a children's hospital, but it took me until late 2016 for me to figure out what Love's actually was, and it was a gas station. Because there's a Love's gas station and travel stop right outside of Iowa Speedway. Jesus fucking Christ, I can't speak. Chris Buescher, I think, is less talented than James Buescher was, because I think James Buescher was an extremely talented driver. Don't get me wrong, Chris Buescher is a good driver as well, don't get me wrong, but in terms of his personality, he's also in the neutral again. Well, actually, I won't say neutral. I would put him, in the liked section, close to neutral, because he's a good driver, and I've always thought of him as a good driver, but there's not really much to his personality, really. It's just bland Texas. It's like Terry Labonte, but blander. Kyle Busch. Kyle Busch is one of those hit-or-miss drivers where you either love him or you hate him. Now, I should say at this point that I don't hate drivers because of their personality. Well, I don't hate drivers personally, except for one, which we'll get to in towards the end of the video. I don't hate drivers on a personal level. Kyle Busch is one of the drivers that I think he's done a lot of chicken shit on track. You know, obviously, wrecking Ron Hornaday in the truck race. His quote-unquote 200 or so wins that he has in NASCAR, even though, 75% of them came from lower series bushwhacking and truck whacking. I don't believe that he is... I believe he lucked into the 2019 championship, and I don't think he earned 2015. I don't see him as a champion. I don't think that he earned those championships. Because if you look, he did not finish well throughout the year. He did not earn those championships. If you look, 2019, the beginning of the year was great. The rest of it was dog shit, and he just barely got the championship. Truex would have won that championship if they didn't have a loose wheel. Hamlin would have won that championship if they didn't put too much tape on the grill. And Kevin Harvick was kind of just there. But I don't think Kyle Busch is as good as people say he is. I don't think he's as good to the sport as people say he is. Just because he's flamboyant and shows his personality does not mean that he's personality driven. It does not mean that. There's many drivers that resemble that remark in the NASCAR grid now. Just because of the fact that they show their personality doesn't mean they should be a fan favorite. Well, I mean, fans can decide whatever they want. I'm struggling to find the words to describe Kyle Busch. I think I'm going to put him in the hated section right near neutral, really, because I think the antics that he's done on track is just... I don't like it. I really don't. I mean, you can conduct yourself however you want, Kyle. It's not my choice. You're allowed to do whatever you want. I respect your decision. I respect the personality you bring into the sport. It's just not for me. Martin Truex Jr. Martin Truex Jr. used to be one of my favorite drivers, but ever since he joined JGR, it feels like the personality because everyone cheered for him because he was driving for good old underdog Furniture Row. Now he's driving for one of the biggest teams in the Cup Series, and I feel like that personality is sort of drained away. I'm still happy when he wins, but I think it's starting to trickle. He's starting to trickle farther and farther into the neutral section. So I'd say he's like dead on the border between light and neutral. Christopher Bell. I rooted for Christopher Bell in the championship for Xfinity in the 2 years that he ran it. But he's fine. I think he's a decent driver. I don't think I root for him as much now that he's in the Cup Series, because, well, there's no because, really. It's just I've developed a like towards more drivers, and I've developed hatred towards more drivers. I don't hate Christopher Bell. I'm going to put him in the liked section, but once again, it's just above Truex. You know, I like him, but he's teetering on neutral. Matt DiBenedetto. I think that Matt DiBenedetto is personally one of my favorite drivers in terms of his personality, but in terms of his talent levels, he really has not proven why he deserves that Wood Brothers car in the 2 years that he's been there. He deserves a good drive, and sure, he's had some horrible luck this year, but I don't think that he's really done all too much in his career. He can do a lot. Put him in a good car, and he can do very well. We saw that JGR signed him very early in his career in the late 2000s, early 2010s. Yeah, so he's in the liked section. Joey Logano. When I said earlier that there's some drivers that I hate for their person, there's some drivers that there's one driver that I hate personally, you might have expected it to be Joey Logano, but it's not. I think that Joey Logano, don't get me wrong, he's done some very stupid shit as a driver, but most of it was in the rules of NASCAR, and most of the stuff that he did was not only tolerated by NASCAR, but they want you to do stuff like that. They want you to race your competitors hard. I think he's matured over the years. I'm not going to put him in my liked section. I think he's teetering between neutral and hated. I think it's because I think my strongest opinion on Joey Logano is the fact that his superspeedway blocking is either going to get himself or someone else killed. I guarantee that's going to happen at some point. It's going to be horrible when that happens, and God would hope that's not going to happen, but it's probably going to happen at some point. So, but then again, if you look at how NASCAR markets and NASCAR markets these plate races, they kind of want you to pull off stupid blocks like that. So, is it Logano's fault or is it NASCAR's fault? Because I think Logano's just trying to do what NASCAR tells him to do, really. Bubba Wallace. Bubba Wallace is kind of slowly joining the fold of drivers that people either hate or love. Hate, of course, being some of the unpleasant Q farthuffers that think 9/11 was an inside job and other batshit crazy ideas they think of while jerking off their cat. You won't get that joke for a bit. Video coming up on the worst Yahoo Answers thread. That's where that joke originally spawned. But I'm really neutral towards Bubba. I didn't like him after he threw the what was it, like water or Gatorade or Powerade or whatever the fuck that he threw at Alex Bowman after the finish of the 2019 Roval race. I didn't like him after that. But at the same time, I don't hate him. Sure, he was just showing his emotion. I understand that, but I really don't feel. I don't feel one way or the other towards him. He's not one of my favorite drivers, and he isn't one of my most hated. Well, he isn't one of my hated drivers or my liked drivers. He's just neutral again, so it may seem like I'm putting a lot of drivers in the neutral, but that's just genuinely how I feel. William Byron. I frickin' love William Byron. Ever since he was in the Xfinity series, I've been a fan of William Byron. I have a diecast of him upstairs. I have his Liberty University car, which he won his first race at. If I could remake my predictions video, I probably would have put William Byron in my final four, along with Kyle Larson. But he's one of my favorite drivers. I didn't stay up for either of the Daytona races that year. Last year, which sucks because my two favorite drivers in NASCAR, period, won those races. Which, again, blows, but what can you do? But William Byron, easily in my liked, probably one of my most liked, most liked full-time Cup Series driver. Austin Cindric. Regardless of how he got his Xfinity championship, and regardless of how he's done in Xfinity over these past few years, we all know that the only reason why he's really there is because of his last name. Sure, he's proven talent-wise why he deserves that seat, which I fully understand. I think he's being rushed into the Cup Series because think about the fact that 2020 was his only hope of success, and during the COVID lockdown, he didn't even think that the team was going to be back, which is a strange thought considering his dad is the vice principal of Penske Racing as a whole, and he didn't even have that much confidence in his team being around for the end of the 2020 season. So I think he is a decent driver. I just think that he needs to prove a little bit more for me to think that he's Cup worthy. So yeah, that's Austin Cindric done. Michael McDowell. Now, Michael McDowell is another driver that I feel really neutral about. Sure, Chris Buescher drove what is now Michael McDowell's car, and Michael McDowell came from my favorite form of racing, IndyCar, but besides his Daytona win and his Texas crash, what do you really remember Michael McDowell for? Maybe his crash into the safety truck at Richmond, but besides that, that's pretty much it for Michael McDowell. I gotta put him in the neutral because I just don't feel very strongly about him. Let us scroll down here a bit. We'll piss. I think we went a bit too far down. Yep, there we go. Ryan Preece. I don't like Ryan Preece. Is he a good driver? Kind of. I mean, you can't win a modified championship by being just a slow hack, but he's done nothing in the Cup Series. He's done jack shit in the Cup Series. He hasn't really done anything in the lower series, to my knowledge at least, besides modifieds, winning the championship in 2013, but really I know this might sound a bit rude, but he just sounds like bitter most of the time. Like after his Kansas wreck, the team asked him, "Are you okay?" And he was like, "Fan-frickin-tastic," and he just sounded like he had he sounds like he has such a piss poor attitude about racing. Sure, he had a shit season, but it's no need to take it out on your team like that. I think that was just really fucked. That never sat right with me. So I guess Preece, put him in the hated section. Anthony Alfredo. Now, I love Anthony Alfredo. I think I do believe that he has been rushed into the Cup Series, but then again, what seat was he going to get, Because I doubt very highly that RCR would open up a second full-time car so he could be partnered with Myatt Snider. You miss 100% of the shots you don't take. I don't think he's one of the biggest he's a championship tier driver. I don't think that about Anthony Alfredo. I do believe that he is a very solid driver. On the midst of Jamie McMurray, Austin Dillon, which is certainly not a bad category to be put into, because you're talking about people that have had their own strong success in the Cup Series. I'd say one of the main reasons why I liked him is he did a iRace with my one of my competitors that I race with, and one of my closest friends, Uncle Python, Robbie Campbell, and at the end of the race, Robbie went to the chat and said, "Good race, Pooster Rooster," and Anthony Alfredo read back the message. It's like, "Congratulations, Robbie Campbell, you Pooster Rooster," and ever since then, sold. Bingo. I think Anthony Alfredo, I'm on his Discord server. I'm probably going to chop this up and probably put it in the Discord server. Would this be sucking up? Probably, but who cares? I'm not trying to suck up. I'm just giving my honest opinion on all these Cup drivers. So, Anthony Alfredo, put him in the liked section. Cole Custer. I am, perfectly neutral on Cole Custer. I have nothing, really. I was happy when he won at Kentucky last year. I was extremely happy about that. But besides that, I really don't have any strong opinions on him. He's really just there, you know? I mean, SHR as a whole is pretty shit this year, so you give him a competitive RCR drive, and not RCR, SHR drive, and he'd probably do really good, but besides that, he's really just there. So, neutral. Solidly in the neutral section. Ross Chastain. It's interesting for me for Ross Chastain because he's slowly doing a 360. I used to love Ross Chastain. Well, actually, it's not doing a 360, it's doing a 180. Whatever. I used to like Ross Chastain, but it's slowly getting to the point from his antics in Xfinity last year to him just blowing ass in the Truck Series last year to what he's doing in Cup now. I think he's one of the most overhyped drivers. Is he a talented driver? No doubt about it, but I think he hasn't really, over these past few years, he hasn't proven as to why he deserves to be in the Cup Series. So, plus what he did with fucking killing Almirola and his antics on the super speedway races. It's par and parcel as to why I don't like Joey Logano. It's probably going to be par and parcel as to why whenever I do another video like this in probably a year or two, Ross Chastain might be in the hated section. Because he's slowly going there. I think he's more towards the hated side in the neutral section. But he's still neutral, so that's where Ross Chastain is. Erik Jones. I think he got fucked over by JGR. Sure, he didn't perform well, but I think at the same time he got fucked over for Christopher Bell. By the same sense, I think Christopher Bell is probably going to get fucked over when Ty Gibbs gets his opportunity in the Cup Series. I feel bad for Erik Jones. I feel bad for how he got traded at JGR. But that still doesn't bring him out of neutral. It's just I don't have as strong of opinion about him as most people do. I don't think he's talentless. I don't think that at all. But I don't think he's really just there most of the time. Ricky Stenhouse. Ricky Stenhouse is one of those drivers that I laugh at. He's put in some very good performances this year, but whenever he wrecks, there's going to be memes made about him and about him wrecking. Is that unfair? Probably, but at the same time, he brought it upon himself. This one's tough to grade. I think dead middle neutral is where Ricky Stenhouse goes. I think right now he epitomizes neutrality for me. Alex Bowman. I used to like Alex Bowman. I still kind of like him now, but just he's slowly turning into one of those drivers that's just sort of there most of the time. Like, he's in Hendrick Motorsports equipment. You expect him to go out there and win. But I think so far this season, he has been the worst HMS car. Albeit that is just below Chase Elliott. Last year, he was probably the second best. So maybe there's like a switch in dynamic at Hendrick Motorsports, but for now, Alex Bowman towards the liked section, but it's slowly going lower. You know, it's slowly going down. Cody Ware. I despise Cody Ware with a burning passion. I think that he is quite possibly one of the worst drivers currently in the Cup Series. Currently full-time in the Cup Series. Is he a talentless driver in a stock car? Absolutely. But we've seen his results in the Asian Le Mans Series, which I still don't understand why Rick Ware Racing is racing in the Asian Le Mans Series, but that's besides the point. Really, with Cody Ware, it's just, I think Kamikaze said it best in his top 10 most hated Cup Series driver video. It's perfectly clear that if Cody Ware didn't have the last name that he did, he'd probably be off selling real estate. And I'm recording this the day after he did his rookie test. I haven't heard whether or not he passed or failed the rookie test. He said he did pretty good. God help us if Cody Ware is in the Daytona 500. Not the Daytona 500, the Indy 500. I ripped as shit back when I was recording videos on my phone about Cody Ware entering, Cody Ware and Rick Ware Racing as a whole entering the 24 Hours of Daytona. And truly that was exaggerated, but not as much as like my Robert Kubica video was. Cody Ware is not talented behind the wheel of a stock car, and that has been made perfectly clear. I can't find results of him in karting. All I can find is his results in, like, car racing. He's been racing in cars right about the same time I've been racing in karts. I've racked up 7 championships. What the fuck has Cody Ware done? 2 Asian Le Mans Series championships. I don't even think it was 2. I think it was just a mixed year, like a WEC super season. How it was like 1920, 2021, 2020, 21. You know, all that shit. I just think that he's not good. I don't like him, man. Who knows? Maybe he's a lot more talented behind the wheel of an IndyCar. I haven't seen anything that'll give me hope in a single hope in hell that he's going to qualify. As David Land said in his video about the 36 cars at the Indy 500, Cody Ware is probably going to be driving for his dad's team mixed with Dale Coyne. And out of all of the 36 drivers, he is the one that I'm most confident that is going to get bumped. So there, Cody Ware, hated. Noah Gragson. Noah Gragson is completely unhinged. I'm sorry. His personality is just rage. The Carl Long incident at Homestead, while it was extremely unfortunate and extremely unlucky that it happened, he handled that absolutely fucking horribly. Is he a talented driver? Sure. But I think how he conducts himself on and off the track is just straight up toxic. You know, it's from wrecking his own teammate at Bristol last year in the Xfinity Series to calling everyone dipshits, fighting with people constantly. He's a wrecking ball in NASCAR off the track. And sort of off the track too. He's probably one of my most hated drivers. I think he is extremely talented, but he needs to find a better way to conduct himself. So yeah, Cody Ware, Noah Gragson, there we go. Timmy Hill, I'm neutral on Timmy Hill, really. It's NASCAR did him dirty by leaving him out of the Dirt Bristol Pro Invitational, which kind of turned all to heck because he got wrecked anyway. I'm perfectly neutral on Timmy Hill, really. He's just sort of there. Just kind of there to fill the field. So, yeah, that's Timmy Hill for you. Justin Haley. Justin Haley is, and probably will be for many years to come, my favorite driver in the Cup Series. Well, in NASCAR as a whole, he is my favorite driver. I've been a fan of his ever since 2018, when Noah Gragson, going back to Noah Gragson, running out of talent and wrecking Todd Gilliland to attempt to win, but in his divine wisdom, he didn't follow rule number 1 of stock car racing, learn how to wreck someone without wrecking yourself, and Justin Haley swooped in to win. That's probably one of my favorite NASCAR moments of recent memory. My favorite Truck Series moment, without a shadow of a doubt, in recent memory, because the Truck Series has been pretty shit recently. So, Justin Haley, one of my favorite drivers. I was so fucking happy when he won at Daytona, even though it definitely was Kurt Busch's race that he should have won that, but again, as Slapshoes said in his alignment chart video, it is possible in NASCAR to win a race by sheer damned accident. BJ McLeod. There's nothing I really can say about BJ McLeod. He's there. He's just there. Like, I don't have that much to say about BJ McLeod besides the fact that he's just sort of there and his hair's immaculate. That's all I can really say. Ty Dillon. Ty fucking Dillon. He's just not good. Like, I'm sorry, he's just not good. Has he been dealt a bad hand? Yeah, but same thing happened when he took the ride from Casey Mears, who had a long-term contract with the team. But good old Dick Childress said, nope, I want to let my grandson race. And what has he done since? Besides wrecking fields and just bringing a few stage wins home, that's basically all he's done in the Cup Series. That's really it. I think his lot in life is a trivia question. Who was the first driver to drive for 2311 Racing? It was Ty Dillon. That is his lot currently in NASCAR, and that is his lot currently in life. Daniel Suarez. I'm going to be brutally honest. I used to think that Daniel Suarez was one of my most hated drivers. Because if you look what he did in JGR, he did shit. If you look what he did in Stewart-Haas, he did shit. If you look what he did in Gaunt Brothers, he got ripped out of like 2 pro invitationals because he was wrecking people constantly. But this new Trackhouse deal has really given him, his career as a whole, a resurgence, which I'm really happy about. I'm glad that he's been given a new chance. Do I believe he's been given a lot of chances? Sure. Do I believe, for me at least, this would be my last chance with him? Absolutely. But he's done pretty good so far this year, so I think Daniel Suarez, I'd probably put him in like the, I'd put him towards like neutral to liked. Yeah, sure. So, let me color all this in. Alright, so here we go. This is like my final definitive ranking of all my drivers. I just put them in like bold colors to decide what they're closer to or what they're near. The only driver that I couldn't put into a color was Ty Dillon, who I put in like orange. So between like hated and neutral. So Quinn Houff, neutral. Kurt Busch, liked. Brad Keselowski, liked. Austin Dillon, neutral. Kevin Harvick, hated. Kyle Larson, liked. Ryan Newman, Corey LaJoie, Tyler Reddick, Chase Elliott, Eric Almirola, Denny Hamlin, all neutral. Ryan Blaney, liked. Chase Briscoe, neutral. Chris Buescher, liked. Kyle Busch, hated. Martin Truex Jr., liked. Christopher Bell, neutral. Matt Benedetto, liked. Joey Logano, neutral. Bubba Wallace, neutral. William Byron, liked. Austin Cindric, neutral. Michael McDowell, neutral. Ryan Preece, hated. Anthony Alfredo, liked. Cole Custer, Ross Chastain, Eric Jones, Ricky Stenhouse, Alex Bowman, all neutral. Cody Ware, no. Gregson, hated. Timmy Hill, neutral. Justin Haley, liked. BJ McLeod, neutral. Ty Dillon, like middle of the ground between hated and neutral. And Daniel Suarez, liked. So, there you go. That probably just fucking deafened y'all, and I am not sorry. So, that's it. That is me ranking every single full-time or close to full-time Cup Series driver in 2021. I don't know when the hell I'm going to do this ever again. I'm probably going to do this in like 2 years or something like that. I don't fucking know. I'm not a time traveler. I'm not a time reader. What the fuck am I saying? That's it for me. I've been Kyline, and I need to hit the road.